Hello, and welcome to another episode of Souls in the Simulation. We are your hosts, Evan and Angie, and this podcast provides an alternate view on life after death, processing everything that's wrong, and possible solutions on how to get it right.
Hello, everybody. I'm delirious. It's late and it's been a long night for me
Yeah.
already. How are you though, Devin? How's it going
Oh,
with you?
oh, about the same. Yeah, we are having to re-record our episode because of some silly things that happened that we didn't realize
Uh,
that were happening
uh,
still.
yeah,
Reviewing.
the video was supposed to be up today, but we're redoing it tonight. And I don't think we've ever recorded this late.
No, never.
It's like 10 o'clock our time.
Yeah.
So yeah. And also too, we were talking before we started recording, we were reminiscing about some comments that we're not going to spend a whole lot of time, even in the future moving forward. If, as an individual, you comment on um, us as individuals or our guests, uh, and it's unfounded, like you guys, some of you have a good feel for who we are. We don't put a lot of like money into other people making this into a big production. We could send this off to Fiverr, or is it called Five or something like that, where you can have people
Fiber.
put a
Yeah.
bunch of pre-production and post-production and make you watch a lot of bullshit and all that. We could do a lot of that. We want to be authentically ourselves. Um, because I know I appreciate that when I see it in other content. And the other thing is, if you're not going to challenge us on the subject matter and you don't know, like you're putting your own projected crap, and that's fine. You're free to do that. But I'm not going to waste my time answering. I'm just ignoring those comments from moving forward. Um, but I will not tolerate words being put into my mouth or anybody expressing views when they don't know me or what my views are on a subject because I didn't specify what they are in a video. Nobody, and I'm setting this, I don't know if you agree with this, Devin, but I'm setting this intention out there now. You do not have my permission to do that. Permission is denied, and I'm setting that intention out. Um, we have a great community here. Everybody is welcome here, but get your facts straight. And if you come at, if you're going to point something out, make sure you're correct. And for the record, Devin, I guess, I guess you have to pay attention, teachers in class, and you better not touch your hair because, you know, again, people don't know Devin's situation either. We don't have to do this. We don't have to put this stuff out there. And out of the two of us, Devin will be very more graceful and I'll be professional, but I don't take shit from anybody. That's my sovereign self speaking. And if, and I'll also stand up for Devin and I stand behind Devin. We may not always agree with each other, right, Devin? I'm sure there's things we disagree about on, um, Soul Trap. And I mean, we haven't really come across them yet, but we, but I'm sure we do. I'm sure we don't agree 100% on everything. And, but we can discuss that. But that doesn't mean I think less of her or she thinks less of me because we have different views. And I will just finish this off by saying, you guys, I doubt children are watching this, and I hope they're not. I don't think it's anything. We always select this. It's not for children in our videos. So I'm assuming that you're a grown ass adult. And if you can't get past your own projections and stuff, I can't help you do that, nor is it my job to. If this is for you to take your own agency, it's content for you to consider that we're bringing to you. We don't expect you to agree with us, but we also expect you to be respectful. And if you can't do that, then, nobody's forcing you to watch us. So I will leave that there. Do you want anything? Do you want to add anything to that? Was I too rough?
No, no, you just no. I would also add that I think that there's a I mean, of course everyone has their own free will, but um there's so little that people see beyond the screen of what they're watching, right? Or even face to face in a conversation, you're not seeing the whole reality, the whole story of that person, and to just try to be a little bit more understanding of people and situations. And uh, it's never too difficult to say things in a way that is a little bit more compassionate or constructive without just having to like tear a person down. Yeah.
See how graceful that was? Mine was just all like, "Grr, don't do it. Don't fuck with me." You're very graceful, and I'm more like the dog in the backyard that's chained to a tree
Yeah.
that's ready. Like, don't what? You know that side I think what? Um, and it's not that we can take criticism. That's fine. We can take disagreement, but you don't know us, so you know. And I guess I'm just doing this to set the intention like publicly out. Like I'm really setting it out there with everything I am. I don't want to see it. I don't want to become a pattern on the channel. Now, as it get, if you know, if it does, and as it does get bigger, we probably will see more of it. But I'm setting the intention to not to because it's not helpful. We have a great community, and that's what I want to focus on.
Mm.
We've had a handful of comments that nitpicked about sound quality, this, background, that, whatever, which to the person, it kind of hit me wrong about my background that I used to have. But I guess I thank you for it because now I'm out there. That was me still hiding and I didn't want to be out there. Now I am out here, I mean, here I am, no background. Uh, but it's not, this isn't easy to do. And if y'all think it is, start a channel and we'll see, you know, when you're on the other side of it, or we'll even invite you on here. You can come on here if you're willing to put yourself out there. But trust me when I tell you, we had to overcome a lot to do this, and it's not helpful when we see stuff like that. But I would say we've only had what, maybe five or six comments the whole time. Most of this community, all of it, I'm going to say, if you look by the numbers, all of it has been like, you guys are great. And that's more of what I want to attract to the channel because I think we have amazing conversations in the comments. Um, I try to, I have way more time than Devin has. I have way more time than anyone I think on the planet, right now. So when you guys suggest things, Devin may not always get the opportunity to go look it up or, I have a list right now of people that you guys want us to talk to on the channel. We keep up with that. I try to keep up with all the comments as best I can. The ones that aren't answered yet, I know we have somebody who keeps thinking this is Ola's channel because she's been on. After a while, when I explain that this isn't Ola's channel, you keep sending, like, I'm not going to answer those because I already explained. She's the one who said she doesn't read comments, even on other channels that she doesn't read the comments. So it's better to email our guests directly because this isn't their channel. They're just a guest on it. So I haven't answered those. I have some emails I meant to get to last night that I didn't. But I will get those, if not tonight, tomorrow. And, and I'm gonna let Devin answer a question that Soulflight had. I don't want to forget that because we did forget it when we recorded last night. But just going to go over. So the 1st of February, we're going to cover Valentine's Day and sex and love. Kind of go along with that. So we're going to cover those topics next week. And then the 2nd week in February, we're going to do a movie review of 1984 because in lieu of everything that's going on in our world, especially in our country, but also probably around the world as well. Also, what a lot of the things we talked about, which will relate to Soulflight's question in our last video with Jackie, and we figured it'd be a good time. But we're also going to be covering CERN the week after that. That way, there gives us like 3.5 weeks to research CERN. I don't know about you. Are you looking forward to that? I'm not. The minute I heard they opened a portal and an entity jumped through, I
Mm.
haven't looked into it anymore because I'm like, oh, and they have Shiva, the statue of Shiva, which is destruction. I'm like, okay, nothing good.
Yeah.
It, and I don't like a lot of my attention going into I don't want my attention fully with what they're doing. I'd
Mm.
rather, you know what I mean? Like, it's probably going to happen, but I don't want to go along with the flow, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. but I know there's a lot of interest, and we probably should. I mean, this is the things we talk about and how it may be dealing with dimensional stuff, um, and then the week after that is the moon. We're going to cover the moon the end of February, and then I mentioned this just happened recently. If you would like, I figured out, Devin, I think it's two things. I think the first experience was NDE and the second experience was OBE with the
Mhm.
line of people. Um,
Okay.
what I'm referring to, Devin knows what I'm talking about on Tuesday night going, well, actually it was early Wednesday morning. I had what I can only describe as an NDE at first and then an OBE. And that's by virtue of the fact that I didn't have my sleep apnea mask on. And no, I didn't just choose not to wear it. I fell asleep without realizing I was tired and just didn't have it on. If you guys are interested in hearing about that, vote in the comments and let us know if you guys are interested, because if not, we won't cover it. And then Devin, again, I don't know what the subject is that you would want to call that, but Devin also, if you guys are interested, has some interesting takes on, would you want to view it as mental illness per se and its relationship to entities, or how would you want to? I'll let you preface that, but if you guys are interested, we can do that the second week in March too.
Yeah. Oh, the mental illness and the
Yeah,
government surveillance and
yeah.
that sort of thing. Sure, yeah. Yeah, I can talk a little bit about yeah, just uh that a little bit.
So if you guys are interested in both of those things, let us know. Those will be things from our perspective and our experiences. So we'll do them if you want us to. If not, we'll pick other subjects for the first and second of March, and then that takes us. And then we have a list. Don't worry, guys. We have your list. We have a list going. There's always something to cover. I think it's never ending, right? So
Yeah.
um, and moving on to Soulflight, do you remember what I told you their question was?
I don't.
It's okay, because I mean it's been a lot this week, and
Yeah.
you just got home from work not too long ago. It was basically about, so when Jackie was referencing all of the stuff that's going to be happening, right? Their plans for, like, either you have the chip and you can't buy food, or there's also talk of a tattoo, to a digital tattoo,
Yeah.
and without it, these things, you're not going to be able to buy food. And so Soulflight's kind of like, well, what are we going to do? Because like and I feel you, Soulflight. I get it. Like, I almost felt like you're panicked. Um, because she's like, what about the children and what about the elderly and how are we going to take care of each other? And like, what are you guys going to do? What's your advice, basically? And I'm going to let you take that, because sometimes I have to be talked down off the ledge of, like Chicken Little, the sky's falling. It's hard to stay grounded, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah. I think with it mm, we just have to not get too wrapped up in the fears and the anxieties of what we think the future will be like. Because I know with COVID, everyone thought that we wouldn't be able to go into stores if if we didn't have the jab, and we wouldn't be able to buy groceries, and everyone was freaking out then. And I think that it's something that we shouldn't fret too much about now. And if that time comes, um, deal with it then and just not get too wrapped up in those fears, those anxieties, because that's what they want, that's what they're
mhm.
generating. And I think that we will see when the time comes, and I'm sure there will be different communities. I'm sure there will be nations that aren't doing it. I don't think that it will be so drastic and severe, and we'll have time to figure it out as it comes.
And I mean, and now might be a good time to start, like, this. There's other channels out there that cover this subject. Now might be a good time to start building communities of people,
Yeah.
just in general. Like right now, how can we help each other when we need to work in close proximity? And you guys can connect on. I know at some point we probably need to get a website going um, for for us right now, like money is going to be an issue again because I'm going to have expenses. I'm trying, as a matter of fact, I'm trying to weigh versus going back to rehab, physical rehab. I don't know why I keep having that song in my head that tried to make me go to rehab. I said no, no, no.
But maybe
Um,
yes.
yeah. Or if I'm going to try, are you familiar with the Rosti in the area? It's like a chiropractor. Because if I go, I've done rehab before, and they want to go with the narrative. You guys, I just don't think this is MS. I think it has more to do with, I just had activation of stuff with pressure point therapy, and it shouldn't work. If I fully damaged my neural pathway through MS, it wouldn't work. And so I'm thinking that I have a pinched nerve in my back that they've known about, but they just want to throw this all on MS. So I'm thinking if I go, needless to say, the other route's going to cost money out of pocket because insurance doesn't cover it. And if we do that, then it delays, like, yeah, we probably should have a website, and we probably should have a thing where we can post things besides the post here. But I just, you know, it's kind of, at least the stuff I've seen, some of it's kind of pricey. And even if we did like a Patreon, it kind of sucks that these places, this is by virtue of this place, right? We're the ones creating the content. But if you get on YouTube and you have a membership, they're taking 30% of it. So is Patreon. So all of them, they all take a cut. And it's a huge, they're not even creating the content. They're just providing a platform for you to put your stuff up on. And it's kind of like, you can't win. Like where it should just be it's your content. I don't know why did we go along with this shit? You know what I mean? Like, why was there's people who are doing great stuff out there with huge following, and they're putting up with this.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Tony says, when are we just going to start saying no? No, no, not going to do it. Like, no. So, but the goal eventually is, yeah, um, there is a lot more we've got to do, but it would be nice if we did have the website going, so that would be a place to connect
Yeah.
people together. Um, but you guys can use the channel to do that too. So, there's a lot of you in Canada, and I think it was like almost a good chunk of our people are here in the States. Next is Canada. I think it's the next country. And then, Australia, we've got some Australians. I think Soulfly's from Australia, I think.
Yeah.
Um, and then we got some people in the Netherlands. We've got a few people in the Netherlands. Norway.
Yeah.
I think I saw Norway on there too. So, and it's I pointed out to Devin, uh, America has its own we're not culturally diverse, but even though we're a melting pot, people who are raised here get raised with a certain programming. And so I'm the first to admit I'm culturally illiterate by virtue of being here. We have this very American, um, and so when I say this, understand that I didn't have geography in school. So is Netherlands really far from Norway? Like, could you guys, connect somehow? Because the States, if I say California to New York, that's 3,000 miles away.
Yeah.
But I know, like, you can be in Germany and probably in England. It probably less time than it takes to get to some places here, right? So you guys in Europe and other places probably can figure out ways to create some sort of means by which to support each other in that way. And so, and those of you in Australia too, start trying. I know there's could be miles of difference, but perhaps this is something to look into. That we'll have each other's backs no matter what.
Yeah.
We just have to find a means to do it, and so hopefully that provides comfort. Do you have any other suggestions for Soulfly?
Mm. I think some of the things that we're going to talk about today, just empowering yourself and connecting to yourself and just trusting, being able to, the things we're going to get in today, but trusting yourself. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
Okay.
You want to kick us off?
I would love to kick us off. All right, so today we'll be talking about
Did
ways
that
to,
sound bad? Or because now I'm getting self-conscious. The thing I told you not to do before we started, I'm like, oh, did that sound bad? Who cares? If it does, it does. All
you're
right.
good. You're good. So today we'll be talking about ways to empower yourself in disempowering times. And I thought a good way to start this off would be for me to speak about my own kind of perspective. And I know that when I came to realize or came to know about Soul Trap, it gave me this new understanding to life and to myself, and I wasn't connecting to outside energies anymore. Doing so allowed me to be more compassionate with myself, to start to like love myself, but also apply that compassion to like nature and to animals and even the people that may not agree with me or who may rub me wrong, to understand that we're all trapped here. And even though the trees don't have the best like living conditions with everything going on, they still grow and they thrive and they keep going. And that's kind of my new understanding, and just to give compassion to every being I meet, every whether it be a tree or an animal or a person, an NPC, whatever you want to say, and just to be more understanding of everything.
I agree with that. I think
Yeah.
that's now where's your line? Where would you say to draw the line though in terms of people that not just happenstance that you meet or have acquaintance relationships with? Where do you think that understanding would meet per se boundaries? Because this kind of gets into one of the things I forgot to bring up. But sometimes there are times in which you can still care about people, but they're not a good influence in your life or a good presence in your life.
Yeah.
And I just went through that literally minutes, like an hour before we started recording,
Mhm.
where um, this is just what's going on with me. My whole life has been where I tend to attract people to me who spend very little time um, on what's really going on with me and more time dumping their. I mean, I had a whole hospital of people that would come in my room. I knew who was sleeping with who was cheating on their spouses at this facility. Some of them were alcoholics in their struggles. How did I know all that? Because people would just come in my room and dump it on my lap. Meanwhile, I'm there with MS in a wheelchair trying to recover. And so when you start, and I've been eradicating that out of my life and putting, because I'll give the boundary first, but if people don't respect the boundary, um, and it's not just to be like a jerk to be selfish, but it's more like there's only so much as you as a person can take, and you do have to take care of yourself. So where would you say you draw the line between understanding that yes, they are in this trap too, but they're also being really, really
Yeah.
destructive and dysfunctional.
Yeah. Well, at what cost is it giving you your piece? Like, I feel if it's someone in a grocery store who maybe says
Right.
something like that's so different than a personal relationship to you where they're talking to you constantly, they're sucking your energy, they're not being reciprocal in the way they're trying to handle the partnership at all. And in those senses, I would suggest like cutting ties or pulling your energy back and seeing
Mm-hmm.
kind of what like happens with it, right? And
Do you
just
think
knowing,
do you think that's important to do on a regular basis? Kind of not, I'm not saying every day, but I mean, kind of reassessing who's in your life, who you're attracted. Do you think that's also, I think it's probably a good thing to do because,
yeah,
otherwise you're surrounding yourself around people who are probably going to dis encourage like disempowerment in the things in your life that you're wanting to change that aren't changing by virtue of what's around you, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think with it too, just being aware like how much energy you're giving out, and if it's being like just be aware of your energy and where it's going, and Um, yeah, I would say just like check in with yourself every now and then with your personal relationships or um and just see if it's serving you and your growth. Is it an empowering relationship or are they like sucking you dry, you know? Yeah.
My end, are you freezing it?
Am I freezing it? I might be. Okay. Um, do you have something that you want to add to the topic next?
Oh, I think one of the things that, which I've kind of already alluded to, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not giving you medical advice. These are things I'm noticing. So we have, um, I think it's important to advocate for yourself and also determine, um, Western medicine's got a lot of things wrong, and they don't, from my viewpoint, handle chronic illnesses well. If you're, again, this is from my point of view and what I've personally experienced. If you're shot, if you've got a severe infection, something's wrong where they've got to go in and do heart surgery. Yes, it's acute, you need it now. That's where, if anywhere, that's where it thrives, right? But I encourage people to be mindful of what you're what they're trying to advocate as medication. For example, with my case, and a lot of cases with autoimmune disease, if you look at the ads for everything from something as simple as psoriasis to eczema, and you look at the side effects of the drugs that they're trying to prescribe when there's, for example, I've met somebody through the channel actually who's addressing issues with their MS all without the drugs, um, and having real results with that. Now, it took them a while to heal, but so I think it's important in all things, whether it's your medical, whether it's the psychiatric, whether it's counseling, make sure that you're empowered, that what you're doing benefiting you. Is it going to get rid of your illness? Is it going to make your symptoms better and your overall health better, or is it going to just address symptoms and you're going to be worse for the wear on it? And the reason I bring that up is because everything is geared to make you ill. That's why this is important. Our diet, it's not nutritionally, what our grandparents were eating, um, was way more nutritious than what we're being fed today. Then you factor in fast food in our country, the grocery stores here, the way it's kind of designed is the healthy food, quote, healthy, like your fruits, vegetables, meats, and all the cheeses, and that's all on the outside of the store. And compared to the center of the store, that's very little in terms of percentage. What's in the center of the store is just laden with shit. And then you factor in fast food, and the fact that it's expensive to eat healthy. And as a matter of fact, I hadn't had dinner yet before we started recording, so this is my dinner. It's a smoothie. If you guys are interested, I can give you guys the recipe and post it in our post section. But it'll give you all your electrolytes and stuff, and it's really good. Um, it's a lot up front to get all of the stuff you need, but once you have it all, then it's just a matter of replacing things here and there. But if you guys are interested, let me know and I'll post that in our post section. But I think that's part of these things that we're mentioning is part of self-care to help you navigate um, your existence while you're here to make it less hellish, if you can even do that. But make it less of, uh, I think, or being for you to be able to give yourself some self-care and kind of avoid more consequences from things we're exposed to here down the line. So that's what I would add to that.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to try that smoothie of yours too.
It's so, I mean, the lemon flavor, because it has basically a whole host of things like walnuts and almond butter and coconut butter, coconut oil, but it has like the lemon. It's half a lemon. You chop up lemons, you freeze them, and it's cranberry, lemon, tart cherries, and blueberries that are frozen. And you
Mm,
throw it, and so it has this, it's really tart. So if you don't like tart things, you won't like it. But if you like the flavor of lemon, it's really, it's my favorite thing. I drink it every day.
yeah.
And if you put a pinch of salt in it, it's got almost like a fourth of all your vitamins, minerals. And oh, one of the things from the Brazil nuts that are in it, I think it's bromelain. You're getting your bromelain intake from, it's only 2 Brazil nuts that you throw in there.
Yeah.
Um, and have you noticed how certain food, like to me, walnuts look like brains,
Oh,
right? They look like
they're
tiny
good
brains, their
for,
shape.
they're good for your
And
brain.
yeah, and they're good for your brain. So
Yeah.
there's 2 of those in there, right?
Yeah.
So, and I'm doing, and that's the other thing, if any of you are interested, I'm not going to personally answer the email. I'm going to get permission from the person that I'm talking to. But if you have, MS or things like something similar to that, I can give you some info that I'm going to be doing. Again, it's not medical advice. It's just what she's done. That's work that I'm doing. Um, that's helping, uh, and by the way, some of the stuff Deb and I were just discussing about lead. Some things, when you do a search on it, it's going to give you the pat answer. And so one of the things I'm using is DM, as in Mark, SO. If you look that up, it's going to tell you not to do it. It's going to tell, even though vets have been using it on animals for years for a whole host of things. Um, but so just keep in mind that, and I'm sure you guys know this, that what you see isn't always it's sometimes it's hard to get to the truth of the matter. Um, and I did forget, I mentioned it in the last video real quick. The other thing too with diet is I'm not ever going to encourage people, because I find it frustrating when I'm trying to research. Should I eat meat? Should I not eat meat? Is a more plant-based diet. And so basically looking for the information outside of myself and what I should be doing is, if I eat something, sitting and just being with that, and how does it affect me? Because here's the reality, and I'm going to get shit for it and I don't care, but nobody has the right to dictate that a one size diet fits all for everybody. We have different ancestral stuff. Our ancestors may have ate a certain way for years. Maybe they didn't eat meat that often. So when you get to, I will see people on channels arguing, well, I'm vegan, and how can you say veganism isn't bad? And somebody who eat meat saying, well, you have to eat meat to have any sort of, I don't agree with that. I think every person has to decide for themselves, because I tried the carnivore diet because a bunch of people told me, when you have MS, guess what? No, that didn't work with my digestion. So again, I'm saying these things, and I know it seems kind of like, oh, that's kind of elementary. It's really not, because we get away from figuring things out for ourselves and listening to the influence of other people some of them we respect, some of them we look up to. And just because they tell us to do it, we're doing it. And I really think it's important. Doctors tell you to do stuff, and why? They'll just go along with it and maybe not research what they're telling you to do. I mean, I had to bring up to somebody, a physical therapist, no less. He tried to tell me that E-stim has not found any beneficial effect for rerouting around existing damage. And I looked at her and I'm like, I've had nothing but 5 years of time on my hands. There's 3 studies that I knew off the top of my head. I named to them. I go, have you read them? Oh, well, no. Well, then why are you telling me something that isn't true? And I've even caught AI doing that as well. If you want to verify information that can collate, I will use AI for that. I don't have time to verify thousands upon thousands of information in a short period of time. And I've caught AI lying about a couple of things, about the effect of about the SMO specifically. And
Yeah.
it had to admit that it was lying. So, and you'll be getting on that with probably later on too, when you research lead paint, which will come up later in the discussion. But just be mindful of, this place is built on deception. And if you're not empowering yourself and your own decisions and looking into things for yourself, don't take other people's word for anything, right?
Yeah. Hey, have you ever tried muscle testing?
No, I'm
Yeah.
trying to get, are you talking about where they do like electrical tests?
No, it's when you ask a question for your body and then you can see if it gives you like a yes or a no. Or I think one, I
Oh,
tried looking it up just now, if you like can't stand, you can make like an O with your hand and then like an O here. And then you like ask a question. And then if you can open it, I guess that's a yes or um
no, I'll
yeah.
have to look into that.
Yeah, it like communicates through your like subconscious or unconscious mind to see whether or not things are like good for you. I've been aware of it. Always I always remember to do it, but then I never keep up with it to see um to continue doing it. But when you're talking about people's different bodies and their body chemistry, it made me think of that. So maybe people could try that as well. And
And
just,
look into that for sure.
yeah, yeah.
I thought you were talking about they do something when I think they might even do it for Parkinson's patients, but they do what's called like an electrical so they test your the firing of your nerves basically.
Mhm.
And I literally had PT that was here this week, and she goes, "Do you think you can get your neurologist?" And while she before she even finished the question, I was scratching my head, no. And I was like, I can't even get their office on the phone. The call. This is the other thing. The calls go to Dubai, so there are people in Dubai answering calls for the main center of the group she's with. That's in Dallas, but she's in San Antonio. So you never ever get a hold of anybody in their office. And I was like, and all they want to do is push the drug, which is $68,000 a year, two infusions, $34,000 a piece, that will not give me function back. That will not necessarily, it's only 40% effective at stopping these new disease activity. That's all it's used for. Here's the thing, I don't have new disease activity, so why they want to give it to me?
Mhm.
And thirdly, it wipes out your immune system. It kills, supposedly, it only kills targeted B cells that are initiating that have this protein on them. But that even doesn't make sense to me either because I mean, I'm not saying it's true. I'm not in the lab, but I'm like, so you train cells, you train this medication to only attack only the cells with this protein on it that's causing this problem, and you're not even sure if that's what's going on.
Yeah.
There's no definitive evidence saying that's the problem. So what are we doing here? I mean, it's ridiculous, but so that's what I thought. I thought you were talking about was that electrical test.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that sounds great. Like what? And so what's it called again?
It's
Everybody
called
knows.
muscle testing.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna look into that after this
Okay.
episode.
All right. Yeah, I'll send you something on it. Yeah. Okay. Another one that I have for staying empowered is to just trust in yourself and connect to yourself, connect to your divine spark, essence, soul, and you can spend a couple like minutes just getting quiet with yourself or maybe going to your peaceful place and just connecting to that energy. And you could even sit with it for a couple minutes and see if any imagery or emotions or thoughts come up, arise from it. You can also always do protection, creating little bubbles of energy. You can send it around yourself, your house. You can program it to cleanse your fields. You can go into your unconscious energy and remove entities, remove anything that could be attached or using you for food. Um, and let's see. Man, I'm tired. Uh,
Mhm.
Also having one of my favorite things for helping empower myself is to have a growth mindset. And with that, I try to, I love to learn. I love to learn either about just anything and have a growth mindset. Sorry, I kind of got off there. Having a growth mindset towards yourself and never getting too stuck in your ways, becoming so rigid
Mhm.
stuck, um, but also having that growth mindset towards just learning new things and expanding your conscious awareness. Doing that, allows us to take in new information. Um, but did you want to comment on the growth mindset towards growing as a person? I know we talked about it in our first recording.
I think it's critically important. I
Hmm.
mean, how can you even be in when you look at that's why in terms of that, when people say things like, well, I think this is when I brought up the thing about animals and consciousness and
Mm.
how
Oh yeah.
on the
Yeah.
Overwatch project, he recently lost his dog. And apparently he was of the mindset that, you know, at one point in time, like a lot of people in this, because I guess they have the answers and the rest of us don't, that animals don't have the ability, like they're just stuck here or whatever. How, and my thing is, this is why not walking into a viewpoint. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have your own grounding, but when you walk into viewpoints, who the hell are you or anybody else to tell somebody else? We don't even know what consciousness is. We can't even define it. And whether what I experienced recently or other NDEs, we can clearly see that I don't know if that's a false memory. I don't know if that was implanted. You can take it at face value, but it still doesn't tell us anything. It gives us a glimpse. It gives us a possibility of that might be something. But to say even that person coming back still can't give you definitive answers. They don't even understand fully their experience. I can't even tell you guys. I'm still processing what I recently. So that closed-minded idea of, oh, I've got it all figured out. These are all the answers. I don't want to hear it. This is why I get very careful about what information I'm taking in. And there's some channels out there that I find hard to listen to. I'll watch them, but guess what? And I don't, even though I disagree with them, I don't feel the need to comment and tell them I disagree with them because it's a waste of my time. And it's not going to change their position. And I don't have to adopt it. But I still find them relevant because there's other stuff that does make sense to me. But
Yeah.
that's where that whole being, I think a mind and um, a being that's willing to have that openness can do that. You can watch things you disagree with. Um, but I don't think that anybody should be dictating. Um, that to me is coming from a restrictive mind and somebody who has no different than cult thinking. It's cult thinking. I've got it all. It's like cult leader thinking. I got it all figured out. I have the answer. And then you get a bunch of people that go follow them and then hang on their every word and adopt it for themselves. And so I would say be careful of that too. And don't do that with us. I don't want a bunch of people doing, please don't. The last thing the world needs is a bunch of me in it. It only needs one of me. And I don't even know how people live with themselves doing that kind of thing. Um, and trying to mind board people. And I want people to like, because here's the thing, if you as an individual, Devin, expand and if somebody else expands, and then beyond where I'm at, and then you bring information to me from your expansion, then I'm also expand. That should be the idea. That should be the goal, not for us all to stay stuck in some, well, that's what we are. We're already stuck. What do you want to, we want to add to that even more with stupid beliefs? Like, no. And sorry, guys, I've been really fiery for the last 3 days. I'm sure that's probably coming across, but I think I can't emphasize that enough. And I think it's a great point that you brought it up on. I think it's probably, if not number one in the top three um, things to empower yourself, especially during these days with everything going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And really, please, people don't argue on this channel about left or right shit. I don't, you have free agency. We're not gonna, we said we won't delete comments. We won't, but I can tell you this much. I'm not going to waste my time and I doubt Devin will either on that.
Yeah. Another thing about the growth mindset, I feel like with it, we can heal so much in the present moment, and we don't need to go so far back in the past to, um,
Mm-hmm.
when I say growth mindset, like we don't need to go back to our childhoods unless maybe um, you feel called to that. But we don't have to do all the healing in the past. A lot of it can just be done in the present. And just looking at some of your whatever maybe you unwanted thoughts or behaviors, beliefs, and choosing to shift them all right here, all right now. And it can be done. A lot of it can be done just focusing on the present moment.
I agree 100% with that. And I think that's why the stuff like self hypnosis,
Mm,
somatic therapy, I think that's why those things, because you somatic therapy doesn't even so much focus on the event in the past, it focuses on where in the body now is it affecting you. And I think that's why it's so effective, is which illustrates your point. And we didn't spend a whole lot of time on it, but I think conventional therapy is good for you. Maybe right now, like trying to navigate what's going on in the world, maybe, yeah, maybe go talk to somebody about
yeah,
how it makes you feel so it doesn't get embedded in, right? And you process it as it's happening. And that's where I think conventional therapy is great.
yeah,
But I think the work that you're talking about, I think there's a lot of different stuff out there that helps,
totally.
that supports your position on that. I agree
Yeah,
with you.
yeah. And quantum physics says that when we heal the present moment, we actually change particles and things from the past. So know that we don't have to always go there and be stuck in like all of those big emotions there. We can just do a lot of it right here. And I love, yeah, I love that. And I think with the conventional therapy, with any kind of healing work you do, the most important thing is for you to have a good connection with who you're working with, to have good rapport, and that being key in whatever healing work you may do.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
You said quantum physics, and that made me think of CERN. And I'm gonna have to post it. I'm gonna have to look at the title of it. It's a video. It's some silly English woman, and
Mm,
she's going around like interviewing experts in their field.
mm,
And the one was a minister, and she was like, "So, God," and she literally says, so she goes first to the Sistine Chapel, and she's talking about Michelangelo, but she says his name like in like phonetically, and she spells it on the TV phonetically too. It's kind of funny, but she goes, and he drew the picture of God jizzing humanity out of his finger. I lost it. And then she asked the minister if this is a minister. And she's like, so God. She goes, so how do you know it's God? And he's given her some answer, and she goes, but you don't really know that he's real. I mean, she goes, does he? And then she goes, does he have a brother? And he goes, he says, I know I don't believe so. It doesn't say definitively. Then she goes, but he could have. And his brother could be named Bob, right? And so it's a lot of this kind of questions to people. And it's funny because when you see, we always think just ask the serious stuff to somebody, right? But if you make it ridiculous to them, like, does God have a brother named Bob? And they can't, I don't know, it just brings out the more silliness of a lot of the myths and things. But she did ask one of the scientists about some interesting, silly questions about CERN and atoms.
yeah.
And so I'll have to post the video. I'll put it in a reel or something, but it's funny. You guys should check it out.
Okay. Okay.
So what else do you have down there?
Oh, just a couple other things. I have one thing to empower yourself. This one's a little bit like silly, but there's more to it. To-do lists, and there's so much satisfaction crossing it off, but
Oh,
also
I
it's
agree with
bringing it,
that.
yeah, it's bringing
Hmm.
it into our conscious awareness, and then uh, from there we're able to just apply it more to our day-to-day. And I'll write things. I mean, I have long to-do lists, but whatever I'm trying to focus on, whether it be connecting to myself or um, working on whatever growth thing I'm trying to work on. Right now, it's the fear of being seen in my speech, but I'll write it down, and it just becomes more real and more of a focus where I can put my energy towards. Yeah.
I like that.
Thank you. Yeah.
And if you think about it, there is something when you feel like you've achieved or like you know, it's kind of like a reminder that I'm progressing. I'm getting I'm accomplishing things.
Mhm.
I think there is something to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for sure.
hmm Yeah. And if you write in blue ink, it's an easier way for you to, the unconscious part, responds more to it than if you were to write in black ink. The same with cursive too. If you write in cursive, whatever you're writing is more stored into the long-term memory part of the brain.
Mm.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of accomplishing something,
Mm,
I told you I told you about the book that I had started, but you said you think I should finish. I
mm.
found it. I read it last night and I
Really?
was like, oh, this is incredibly dark. And then this is the first, like, I have 3 chapters and it's about 100 pages. And I was like, whoa, so broken,
Yeah.
so broken. Like uh, but the dream sequence, and I didn't realize it's not too like, how you look back at something you did and go, that was me, I wrote that, because that's pretty good. Like when I had a line in there somewhere, it was like where they heat burns um so hot behind blue eyes to render them ice. And I'm paraphrasing, I don't have the exact wording, but I was like, that's pretty damn good. That's pretty damn good. But yeah, I found it. So I
Mm,
don't know if I'm gonna work. I'd have to tweak it a lot because I could
yeah.
definitely see and then try to finish it from there. But yeah, it was I found it and I couldn't believe it. I was like, I'll have to tell Devin.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. And you could make changes to make it. Um, I'm sure a lot of time has passed between then, right? And maybe you might have new ideas to rewrite certain things and make it the way you want to make
yeah,
it. Yeah.
for sure. But yeah, it's like I'll have to tell Devin I found it. So I might continue that and see where it goes.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Another one I have is along with to-do lists is setting intentions in the morning and at night. And in the morning, we enter this state called the hypnopompic state. And we're coming out of delta and we're going into theta before we go into alpha and then beta. And so this is a really, really good time, those first minutes when you're waking up and you're groggy, you're like, like do not reach for your phone. Set the intention for today. Today, I'm setting the intention to um, connect to my spark and I'm going to just shine it bright and big and I'm going to be grounded and empowered and I'm going to, whatever intentions you're wanting to focus on for yourself, whatever it is, you can do it during that. Or you can also do it during the hypnagogia state, which is the few minutes when we're going to
mm,
bed. And you can even program your unconscious. You can say, okay, unconscious while I'm sleeping, figure out this for me, or help me overcome this, or just anything like that. And it can be really powerful as well.
I think that I've heard of the before you go to sleep
Hmm.
before, just not the when you first wake up in the morning.
Hmm.
But that would make sense. Plus, you're setting your intention, right?
Yeah.
First start of the day, set an intention. So
Yeah. And it's why it's where that saying, like, oh, he woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
yeah,
They woke up, they automatically started having the negative thoughts towards, oh, I gotta go to work, or whatever it may be. You're programming your mind those very first few minutes when you wake up to already have that negative mindset, the negative programming,
that makes
which also
sense.
sucks for the people that like do the, um, never mind. But
I was
yeah.
gonna say too, like in terms of like setting intentions is important, and just in general,
Yes,
um, right?
yes, yeah.
And which is kind of goes to what we were explaining. You were explaining to Soul Flight earlier. That's helpful, but
Mhm.
I think it's um, this day and age with the way that we have modern technology. You do have. I mean, yes, you and I are. You're in SA. I'm in New B. We're talking, but like you're not here. And a lot of people's experience, a lot of people are lonely this day and age. And I think this is why it's really important for individuals to develop a system of support with people that are help. It doesn't mean they have to be like-minded, but people who respect you, respect your viewpoints, you respect theirs, even if you don't agree with them, but you have a community of support and of people. because it makes a difference,
Yeah.
I think, and where you don't feel so isolated, and that's empowering when you feel like you've got people, not that you necessarily need them, but I do think as a human being, I do think being an island unto yourself, I don't think it's healthy, and I think it's more detrimental. So if you can reach out, even that's through this channel, if you meet people in the comments and connect, you guys can exchange email and different. I mean, there's ways. Um, I don't know. Maybe we should. I mean, I hate Facebook. Maybe we should have a Facebook page. People could
Yeah, like
connect
a
there. But
Telegram group.
oh yeah, that's maybe we should do that. But where you guys can actually build a sense of community and support. I know we had somebody early on our videos comment that they wish they had somebody to talk to about this kind of stuff. And I agree, it is isolating. And you can't, if you go out, I mean, if I talked to the person that I just said was not a very good presence in my life, I would send him running from the hills. He's a conservative Christian. He doesn't even know I have this channel, not because I'm trying to hide it, but if I told him, it just doesn't, it freaks people out. They don't want to hear it. So, so I think building community and having that support is important for empowering yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I also have moderation. And when I say this, I used to be, when I gave birth to my daughter, I became like super holistic and super um, just strict in my beliefs and my values. And I stressed myself out so much by looking at all of the food labels and, oh, um, my pots are poisoning me, but this is poisoning me. Yeah, I was so strict in it all. And I think now I'm a lot more fluid and kind of flowing with everything. I allow myself, the occasional treat that it's probably not the healthiest, but also I'm allowing myself to eat cleaner, healthier foods and doing that. So just moderation, and you can apply that in whatever sense you want, whether it be um, food or social media, the people you're hanging
Mhm.
out with. Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can drive yourself. I mean, if you start looking at like when I was even cleaning up for your health and you start going, you can literally drive yourself nuts because I go, I can't get all the microplastics out of my body. I'm
Yeah.
never, then that can tap into, oh, and then I'm exposed to this and then the heavy metals and then
Mhm.
this and all the food is poisoned and pesticides. And then before you know it, you're already telling yourself you can't get well or you can't get better because you just poison,
Yeah.
just by your thoughts alone, you've already screwed yourself.
Yeah.
And the reality is we can't ever get away from any of it because it's already here. I mean, there's something called C8 so the nonstick pans, it's a chemical
Oh, yeah.
that doubt they poison the whole world. Everybody in the whole world's got that. Animals, everybody. They polluted the water supply. So just by virtue of that alone, you will drive yourself insane if because I have, and I bet you did too, trying to go like, well, then you get to the point where you're like, there's no point. Why am
Yeah.
I? And then I'll go the other way. Instead of even trying to empower myself, then I go the other way. And I'm like, I'm going to eat all the shit because it doesn't matter anyway. And
Yeah.
I don't drink. I haven't drank in years, but I'm like, and I'm going to drink as many. I used to love craft beer and I would drink a lot of it throughout the day,
Hmm.
and I'd be guzzling, going, doesn't matter anyway. I'm full of microplastics. So let me also chug in the entities in the beer. Let me do that real quick. And, like, yeah, you could actually go the other direction with that because you've driven yourself so crazy that you don't see the point. And, so yeah,
Healthy balance.
yeah, that makes sense. I even went back to smoking when I realized years ago.
Mm.
Um, and I smoked for years again, but I quit for years and then picked it back up again because I was like, I'm going to die someday anyway. So let
Yeah.
me just smoke coffin nails and make it happen sooner. That's so that again, you got to be again mindful of, don't drive yourself crazy with stuff because you can actually put yourself in a tailspin the other direction from what you intended.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and be aware of all the different types of programming. Earlier, you were talking about your MS and like if you ever look up an health issue on Google, the first thing like WebMD, it shows you all of these like really loose like symptoms, then it's just then it goes into like how scary some of the things are. And
And
even
that there's
like
no cure right off the
yeah,
bat. They'll tell you
yeah,
if there's no cure to it.
no cure,
So,
nothing.
so that already takes any, not that you should have hope, but any, that takes empowerment right from the get-go away, right? No cure, you're done. You're just stuck with this thing.
Yeah.
Live with it. Yeah.
Yeah, but the programming, it's everywhere. AA, they tell you that one's too many, a thousand's never enough. You're always going to be an alcoholic.
Well, and then you have to identify as that the
Yeah,
rest of the time.
yeah.
I'm a drug addict. I'm not
Mhm.
okay. I don't see how that's helpful.
Yeah, every time you say your name, you have to say that.
And
Yeah,
again, we're not counselors. We're not therapists. This is just our take
yeah,
on it.
yeah. But just being aware of it's everywhere, everywhere.
Well,
Uh,
you can't even, I mean, even we see it in movies and stuff. It's everything tries to get, it has a narrative that it's trying to tell you.
yeah,
And that's why it's so important to be aware.
yeah,
So even of yourself, so that you're not telling yourself BS either. We let to tell ourselves all the time. We're the worst of
yeah.
offenders on that regard. So
That brings me to my next one, living consciously.
look at that. We just flow,
We are,
flow
yeah.
like flow like flow dough. Do you know who that is?
No, I don't.
She was an Olympic runner back
Okay.
in like the 80s or whatever, but everything was the poor thing. You have to deal with the Gen X references all the time. Flow like Flojo.
Um, yeah, just living consciously, bringing that awareness through everything and just being uh, that. And then I'm pretty much, I think I'm done with my list pretty much. I feel like I've breathing. I talked about conscious breathing in the last first time we did the episode. We talked a little bit about breath work, grounding. EFT tapping is really good for helping you with your motivation, for tapping into emotions you may be feeling, um, focus, and then gratitude as well.
And gratitude in the sense that we always mean it in terms of there's things in your life that you can, but not gratitude in the way that the New Age movement. So just so we're clear. Um, and I think I would lastly say that I think just continue the pursuit of what is real from what isn't. Meaning, yes, even watch people you disagree with. I watch those channels within this community that a lot of I see they've got statues in the background and stuff. I'm like, there's a nun back there and there's a little devil figure back there. I don't have to agree with that, and I don't have to let the energy that affect me. But they do have some valid points and there's some valid things to say. Um, and you don't even have to do what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But my point is I think the more that you strive to figure out, and one of the things with my own recent experience I realize is you can defy these things. Even when they're looking at you with their finger over their mouth and shaking their head no at you, you can still defy them. And they don't do anything. If you're grounded in your power, they don't do anything to you. And so I feel even more empowered after my recent experience than I did before. And it's only prompting me to continue on the direction that I'm going to keep expanding my mind, which goes back to the growth factor, being willing to continue to
Yeah.
expand your awareness and learn from each other. And I know at the beginning of this we talked about the comments. We do learn from even the things that you criticize us about. And instead of like playing a victim, it just makes us stronger. And that's the way we should be looking at things is no matter what this hellscape throws at me, it just makes me just better at this game than it is. And to them, this is a game. They figure they've got the upper hand, and in many regards, they do. But that doesn't mean that we can't have victories every day, every chance we get to take it back from them and
Mm,
show them exactly what they are and put the mirror in their face. And so that would be my final thought.
yeah. Oh, I have one more actually. I have one more. And it was the bringing awareness to your thoughts, bringing awareness to what it is you're creating.
Yeah.
And once again, touching on that, not giving your power away to things outside of yourself, knowing when to take accountability for what is yours and knowing you have the power to change it. But so many times I see people um, throughout all the different communities I've been in, they are so quick to blame like entities for their problems or their thoughts. And I know that they have influence and that it could be true. But a lot of times, what I would see in people is just this inability to say, like, okay, maybe I'm the one that's creating this problem, this thought form. And it can really limit our growth moving forward if we're not just having that inner awareness. So that's
Well,
one
and
thing.
when, to be fair, you are saying that you've noticed it in others, but to be fair, which you can, if we, there's interest in it, you can get into that more, but didn't you experience that yourself to some degree? So this isn't something you're just arbitrarily, this was your experience too, in a way,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, this
Yeah.
was my experience with um I heard voices and then I used to think that I was targeted by the government as well. And it took me um I had to realize for speaking personally, I realized I had so much victim mentality. I was allowing these thought creations to form, and I was the one generating them. And I had to completely shift from a victim to victor mentality and take authority over my own life, my own thoughts. And through that, through focusing on growth, changing my thoughts, and not giving my power away, I completely shifted out of hearing voices. So, yeah, I think that with all of that too, it's kind of like our consciousness is on this like radio. I mentioned that in the
Mhm.
first one, and we can have these if we're tuned in too low, just really negative. But if we are able to kind of shift out of that, the negativity, you might get more influence maybe, but we're able to shift higher and higher out of that. I know that we talked about Down syndrome in the first one.
Oh yeah,
You want to
because
mention that
that
as
had to
well?
do with the consciousness thing I was talking about earlier
Yeah,
when people with the new age telling people, well, it's your frequency and vibration is why you're sick, or your frequency and vibration is going to get you out of here. Well, by that logic, then a Down syndrome person should never have come into this realm in the first place. Because I'd even asked you, have you ever met them?
yeah,
And somebody with it, and you were like, yeah. And that was the point I was making. I was like, people just dictating consciousness and who's getting out and who's not. I'm like, and having it figured out, I'm sorry you don't. And so, but you were talking about that, like you think that that's how that came up, is you were talking about they're tapped in on their bandwidth. I mean, I would personally think that animals and somebody with Down syndrome has a hell of a lot of chance better of getting out of here than you or me, because they're not carrying the stupid shit that,
yeah,
if we're going by that argument, they're not carrying anything to the level that we are.
yeah,
I mean, we make a lot of our own problems of our own accord. But is that where you were going with that, with the Down
yeah,
syndrome? And
yeah. I
yeah.
think so much of it has to do because the people with Down syndrome, most of their thoughts are um, joyful thoughts, happy thoughts, right? And for such simple things. And I feel like they're tuned in on this radio channel that's just where they're just having like, if they were to tune it down, they might have those like negative thoughts, but they're just so um tuned into that happiness. I don't want to say I don't like the whole frequency vibration stuff because I think that's um yeah, but
That's a whole other level of, yeah.
Yeah.
To me, it's a lot of this stuff to me, even within this community of Prison Planet, some of it starts getting into religion territory in terms of this is the way it is. And it's for to me, um, I'm kind of more where I'm at now with it is I'm not putting anything in my own way. So if I put steps out, like if somebody gives me steps, well, you better have this taken care of. Well, then guess what? I better have that taken care of because I'm agreeing with it and I'm setting that as part of the intention. And you have some people talking about, I mean, we even have disagreements about the chakras, right? You had yours removed with Tony.
Oh yeah.
Tony thinks, that, hey, there's people in this that think you should keep your chakras. One of them is the guy with the green background who I can never remember his name,
Yeah.
but he
Oh,
doesn't advise
forever
people.
conscious.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
doesn't advise people getting their chakras removed. Does that mean he's right and Tony's wrong or you're wrong? No. Um, it means that maybe for you, Devin, getting those pulled out makes it more likely for you to get out because, and maybe for him, he doesn't need to do that.
Yeah.
But I think that what I got from what I just experienced is you decide moment by moment what you're going to do and what you're not going to do and what's deceiving you and what's not deceiving you when
Yeah.
you're not here.
Hmm.
And more than ever, I'm really more of the opinion of you're just out. If you want to be out and you know what this is, you're out.
Yeah.
And this crap of, well, you have to, I go, how is that any different than Christians telling you have to have the blood of Jesus to go to heaven? Or that you have to do all of the things to crack the wheel of samsara, or whatever religious crap that there is that for people in other religions they have to do to get out of whatever it is, avoid hell if you're Christian, whatever the case. We're doing the same stuff to ourselves within this movement in different ways. And I don't think it's helpful. Now that doesn't mean I'm right. That's just where I'm at. And it could change again, because I'm willing to expand and grow. And I think that's the gist of what we're saying today is all of these things we talked about can lead you to where you're in that space of all the time being willing to grow and adapt to what you need to adapt to get you the hell out of here. And that's what we want for all of you and all of us.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
I'm done. I'm ready for
I
bed.
am too. I think so. It's late enough. I mean, you
Yeah.
poor thing, you worked all day and then it's going on 11:15. I think it's time to wrap it up.
I think so. All right. All right. Good. So, is there anything else you want to add to today's episode?
No, I think we
No.
covered everything we wanted to that we
Okay.
think that, might help you guys
Yeah.
navigate this crazy place and all that's going on right now.
Yeah. And just stay sovereign, stay empowered, and
And you know what? And support each other. There's a community, you guys comment. Let's support each other and quit, you know, don't tear each other down. We don't need that. There's already too much of that going on.
all right.
So, and again, this isn't to be all new agey and kissy smoochy, you know, love and peace. It's just more of I get it. A lot of us there's a lot to be worried about, but let's just stick together and uh, we'll get through it.
All right. All right.
Okay,
Good.
everybody,
Well, bye, y'all. We'll see y'all in the next episode.
take care.
Bye.